used to believe love was built on partnership, on sacrifice, on the kind of shared dreams that make two lives feel like one. My name is Emily. I'm 29, and for most of my life I thought I had a good sense of people. I thought I knew how to separate sincerity from manipulation, kindness from convenience. But the truth is I didn't. I wanted so badly to believe in forever that I ignored the cracks forming under my feet until the ground finally gave way. It happened in the simplest way, the kind of moment you never expect to define the rest of your life. A dinner, a plate of pasta, a hand placed gently over mine. Her eyes glistened not with love, but with calculation disguised as worry. My parents might lose their house, she whispered. If you really loved me, you'd pay off their mortgage. Think of it as a wedding gift to me. For a second I laughed. I thought she was joking. But then I saw the way her face didn't change, the way relief spread through her smile when I nodded slowly. She thought she had secured it, the deal signed in silence. In that moment, everything I thought I knew about her, about us, shifted into something darker. It wasn't a request. It wasn't even a plea. It was an invoice neatly disguised as love. I sat there frozen, hearing my own heartbeat in my ears. We had been planning a wedding, weaving together visions of a shared future. I thought it was about vows, about building a family. But now I understood I wasn't a partner in her story. I was the funding. The foundation wasn't love, it was leverage. I didn't argue, I didn't shout. That's not how I've ever worked. I'm not the type to throw plates or storm out of rooms. I've always been the planner, the one who studies the details, who knows how to execute a controlled demolition when a structure is unsafe. And that's exactly what I did. That night after she drifted to sleep, I opened my laptop. One by one, I canceled the caterer, the photographer, the band. Thousands lost in deposits, erased like chalk from a board. Each confirmation email I sent made the pressure in my chest loosen just a little. By 3 a.m, our wedding wasn't a wedding anymore. It was a graveyard of transactions on my credit card statement. I sent her a message, brief and final. The wedding is off. I will not be paying your parents' mortgage. This is not the partnership I want. I'll arrange to have the ring collected. I wish you the best. Then I blocked her. Blocked her parents. Blocked her sister. In one night I demolished the life I thought I was building, brick by brick, until nothing remained but dust. But endings never come clean, not with family, not with people who see you as their lifeline. The first wave hit me at work just like I feared it would. The security desk called, warning me a group was in the lobby causing a scene. It was her family. Her father's face was red with rage, her mother clutching tissues. She didn't even use her sister snapping photos like this was all theater. And her, my fiancé, standing there, eyes wide with fake devastation, playing the victim in a play she had written herself. They shouted at me in front of my colleagues, demanding explanations, demanding I fix what I had broken. Her father's voice boomed. You don't end an engagement with a text, her mother chimed in. You broke her heart because you're too cheap to help her family. And she stood silent, letting them do the dirty work, hoping I would cave under the weight of their shame campaign. But I didn't. I looked at her, my voice steady, and said the words she never expected. My decision is final. This is over. I thought that would end it, but it was only the beginning. The whispers spread online within days. Her sister posted cryptic statuses about a monster fiancé who had emotionally and financially abused her. Photos appeared of her with tears streaking her face, carefully filtered to show her as the fragile victim, hashtags painting me as a villain. Some mutual friends pulled away, unsure of what to believe. Others stayed silent, watching. I stayed silent too, until I couldn't anymore, because I had my own evidence. The spreadsheets. The meticulous list of every expense, every loan, every gift I had covered in 2 years, over $38,000 in total. I converted it into a PDF and sent it to all of them with one line. In the interest of clarity, here's the context for my decision. This is not a bill. It is a record. I knew it wouldn't stop them. But it wasn't about stopping them. It was about reclaiming my story before they could bury me under theirs. The smear campaign didn't end with my email. If anything, it grew louder. Her sister doubled down, posting about how I was obsessed with money, how I had humiliated their family over a simple request. Their friends piled on, resharing the posts, framing me as the cold-hearted ex who had abandoned love for numbers on a spreadsheet. But for every exaggerated claim, for every teary selfie Jennifer posted with captions about surviving narcissistic abuse, there was silence from the people who truly knew me. They didn't believe it, but they also didn't defend me. That silence cut almost as deep as the betrayal itself. My lawyer told me to stay calm, to let the evidence speak when the time came. He explained something I had always known, but never wanted to face. Revenge wasn't fast, and it wasn't clean. It was slow, deliberate, often ugly. And in the meantime, I still had to live with the fallout of my own mistakes, because the truth was, I wasn't blameless. I had signed my name to her debts. A car in particular, a crossover SUV she needed, because her old sedan was too small for the life she imagined us having. I had co-signed, thinking it was a gesture of faith, a promise of shared responsibility. But when she walked away, my signature stayed behind, anchoring me to her choices. My lawyer's voice echoed in my head. The bank doesn't care about trust, they care about money. The thought made me sick. I had always been the planner, the cautious one, the project manager of my own life. And yet I had made the most amateur mistake of all, tying myself legally to someone who saw me as nothing more than a paycheck. Every month after she left, I checked my account, nervously bracing for the moment she defaulted. The first notice hit me like a punch to the stomach, an email reminding me that her payment was late, that as co-signer, I was responsible. I felt the heat rise in my face, not at her, but at myself. My own carelessness had trapped me in her mess. I made the payment, swallowing bile as I did, then instructed my lawyer to sue her for the amount plus fees. It wasn't about the money anymore, it was about principle, about proving to myself that I wouldn't let her drag me under without a fight. The court battle over the engagement ring became my first real stand. She had refused to return it, insisting it was a gift. But my lawyer assured me legally, it was a conditional gift, tied to the promise of marriage. When that promise ended, so did her right to keep it. We filed a claim in small claims court. She ignored the summons at first, probably thinking I'd let it go. But when the court date was finally set, she showed up with her parents, their lawyer armed with dramatic speeches about my supposed cruelty. They painted me as calculating, vindictive, petty. Jennifer even cried on cue, her mother rubbing her back, while her father glared at me like I was the villain who had destroyed their perfect daughter's future. But then my lawyer presented the facts. The spreadsheet wasn't entered as a bill, but as context. A pattern of financial expectation that culminated in her demand for a six-figure mortgage payoff. The judge listened stone-faced, then asked Jennifer directly if she had in fact asked me to pay her parents' mortgage. Her silence said everything. The ruling was swift. The ring was to be returned, or the appraised value paid to me. $22,000. The look on their faces was almost surreal. It wasn't triumph I felt, it was something quieter, something heavier. Vindication laced with sorrow for what I had once believed we were. But of course they didn't pay. 2 months went by and nothing. So my lawyer began the process of placing a lien on her parents' house. That was the first domino, and I knew more would follow. And they did. Jennifer defaulted on the car loan next. I got the notice, paid it to protect my credit, and immediately filed suit again. I sent her the paperwork with a note. This will happen every month you are late. I will not stop. I will sue you every single time. It was the kind of revenge that wasn't fiery or cinematic. It was slow, methodical, like death by 1,000 cuts. Their family's finances began to buckle. The lien on the house made their lender nervous. Jennifer's car was eventually repossessed after another default. Their once comfortable life unraveled thread by thread, until the only option left was to sell their home at a loss. I should have felt victorious. I should have felt powerful, standing over the rubble of everything they had tried to build on my back. But when I looked around my quiet apartment, when I scrolled through the endless legal documents and payment receipts, what I felt was something else entirely. Not victory, not triumph, just exhaustion. Because betrayal doesn't just break you once. It keeps breaking you in waves each time you remember the love you thought you had was never real. The day they lost the house was the day I realized revenge has its own kind of emptiness. Word traveled fast. One of her cousins, who had always been kind to me, sent a text I wasn't expecting. "They're moving out. It's chaos. Boxes everywhere. Your name is on everyone's lips." I stared at that message for a long time. It should have been the moment I felt closure, maybe even pride. After all, I had stood my ground. I hadn't let them bury me. But what settled in my chest wasn't victory. It was a kind of hollowness, as if all the noise and rage had burned away and left nothing but ashes. Jennifer tried to call me that night. I didn't answer. The voicemail came through anyway, her voice trembling, brittle with a mix of anger and desperation. "I hope you're happy. You ruined my family. You ruined me. All over money." For a moment her words almost burrowed in, almost made me question if I had gone too far. But then I remembered the dinner table, her eyes sharp with expectation as she told me, "If you loved me, you'd pay their mortgage." And I knew the truth. This wasn't about money. It was about manipulation. It was about being used, about being cast aside the second I stopped being useful. Still, that night, I couldn't sleep. I walked through my apartment barefoot, staring at the stack of court documents on the counter, the spreadsheets I'd once kept to manage our future. They felt like relics now, artifacts from a version of me who believed in a love that never existed. I wanted to shred them all, to erase the record, but I couldn't. They were proof of what she had done, proof of what I had survived. The weeks that followed were strangely quiet. No more lawsuits, no more angry families showing up at my work. Just silence. It was disorienting, almost eerie. Like waiting for a storm you know is still out there beyond the horizon. I tried to move on, went back to painting, started taking long walks again, tried to breathe in a life that belonged only to me. Some mornings it worked, others the memories returned like ghosts. One afternoon, while sorting through old files, I found the wedding binder I had started the year before. Swatches of fabric, clipped magazine photos, handwritten notes about flowers and playlists. I sat on the floor and flipped through it page by page, until the tears came, not the bitter kind, but something softer, something almost cleansing. I wasn't mourning her anymore. I was mourning the woman I had been, the woman who thought love was a transaction, the woman who nodded and smiled through red flags because she was too afraid of being alone. I realized then that betrayal hadn't just broken me, it had rebuilt me. It forced me to draw boundaries, to understand my worth in a way I never had before. For so long I had thought of myself as the dependable one, the giver, the one who carried the weight for both of us. But when I stopped carrying, when I finally let it all crash down, I discovered I wasn't weak. I was stronger than I ever knew. Months later, I heard it through the grapevine that Jennifer had moved into a small apartment across town, working a retail job she hated. Brian had left her the same ex she'd once promised herself to after my inheritance. Apparently he couldn't handle the mess, or maybe he never loved her the way she imagined he did. It should have satisfied me hearing that her empire of lies had collapsed completely. But all I felt was a distant kind of pity, the way you feel watching someone drown in a river they walked into themselves. One evening I sat on my balcony, the sun sinking low behind the skyline, and I let myself finally exhale. Not with bitterness, not with rage, just with acceptance. Revenge hadn't given me joy, but it had given me clarity. It had shown me the truth about her, about myself, about the kind of love I would never accept again. And in that clarity, there was peace. Closure never comes the way you expect. I used to think it would feel like a door slamming shut, a clean ending that would let me walk away without looking back. But the truth is, closure is quieter. It sneaks in on ordinary days, in the way your chest doesn't tighten when you hear their name, or in the way a memory surfaces and no longer cuts it, just drifts by like a cloud. For me, closure arrived on a Sunday morning. I was at the farmer's market wandering between stalls of fresh bread and flowers when I saw her. Jennifer. She was standing alone by the apples, her hair pulled back messily, her shoulders slumped. She didn't see me at first. I froze, half tempted to turn around and disappear. But something inside urged me to stay, to face her, not with anger but with the calm strength I had earned. When she finally looked up, her eyes widened. For a split second I saw the old version of her, the confident, calculating fiancée who believed she could bend me to her will. But it was gone in an instant. All that remained was someone tired, someone who had lost too many battles. She opened her mouth as if to speak, but I shook my head gently. No words were needed. I walked past her, my basket light in my hand, my heart even lighter. That moment was my real victory. Not the court rulings, not the repossessed car, not the lien on the house. Just that simple act of walking past her without flinching, without needing to prove anything, without needing to look back. When I got home, I placed a bunch of sunflowers I had bought into a vase. The kitchen filled with golden light, and I realized how far I had come. The woman who once nodded silently while her fiancé demanded she pay off a mortgage was gone. In her place stood someone who knew the value of her love, who understood that real love doesn't come with invoices or ultimatums. I think about my grandmother sometimes, how she used to tell me, love should never feel like a debt. Back then, I thought she meant not keeping score, not tallying small sacrifices. But now I understand she meant something deeper. Love should never make you feel owned. It should never reduce you to a transaction. It should be free and mutual and chosen every single day. That's the lesson I carry now, the one I want to pass on. If you're watching this, if you've ever felt used, if you've ever been told that your worth is measured in what you can provide instead of who you are, please hear me. You are not a paycheck. You are not a safety net. You are not the solution to someone else's problems. You are a person deserving of love that is genuine and whole. Betrayal left me scarred, yes. But it also left me wiser, stronger, more myself than I have ever been. And maybe that's the gift hidden inside the pain, that it strips you down until only the truth remains, and in that truth, you finally find your freedom. If my story resonated with you, please like this video. Share it with someone who might need the reminder, and subscribe for more stories of resilience and truth. And if you've ever walked away from love that tried to buy or sell you, leave a comment. I'd love to know your story too.